data privacy in digital finance. So you talked about the various touch points, the data touch points that you have with your AI that helps you to determine whether I am willing and capable to repay a loan should I ask for one. So what are these touch points?
So let me start by just saying at Tala, we are committed to protect personal data. Actually, one of our core values as a company is on something we call radical trust. And it traces back to our origin with our founder when she started the whole concept around issuing credit on a digital platform. Because if you look at it and you think about it critically, by the time you're actually giving somebody credit and there is no security tied to it, it basically means we're in a trust business. And so trust defines a lot of what we do, and even how we then interact with data from our customers is on a foundation of trust. And on the other side as well, we want our customers to know that anytime they are dealing with Tala, they are safe in Tala's hands, and that their data they can trust we will handle it well. So to your question around what data we take, there are a number of data that we have to access, and we do this by first allowing you to fully understand clearly in very simple terms. So it's not hidden in legal jargon where you can then just, I just need money, let me quickly click these things. So ideally when you download our app, let's assume you're a first-time borrower and it's the first time you're interacting with our app. So you'll have to download the app from Google Play Store and start the process where you then just register on the app. So that is a space where we allow you to then give us certain data about you so that we are able to understand who you are. And that data, as I mentioned earlier, will enable us to also, through our machine learning systems, to be able to determine your creditworthiness.
Okay.
And we've put it in such a way that sometimes this has appeared like a friction point with our customers, which we've accepted to take it in as a business because that data privacy concept is central to how we design our product. So you'll find by the time you are going through the motions at the app, at the start of it, there'll be screens that will appear that will directly ask you on specific data that we want from you. So it won't be just a lumped up list somewhere that you have to rush through at the bottom and click and say, I accept. We'll actually force you, so to speak, to examine what we are asking you and for you to fully, while you're informed, to say, yes, I actually accept, opt in to give you this. And then go to the next one, like that. And it's almost like 5 different screens that you will see, asking us the kind of data that we want from you. And this data, we are taking it with the principle that is also in law around purpose limitation. So we are only taking data that is essential for us to provide these services to you. So it's not data that we just want for the sake of it. So that guides us, and this is something we have within our privacy policy, but it is also enshrined in the Data Protection Act of 2019. So once you are clear and you've given consent that this is the data that we are going to access, and these are the reasons why, then we can now go into the app, register, and borrow and request for a loan.
So you're saying essentially that there is nothing outside of what I, as a customer, for example, have given you authority to share or to request that you will not.
Precisely.
So there will never arise a situation whereby you have gone and you've given, what is that thing they say that everybody in my contact list, for example, you have access to, like you said, for purposes of, further information later or understand what the situation may be. Let's say you do that and have a conversation with somebody about, okay, Ndu has not paid her loan. Can you have that kind of conversation with that individual? Or what kind of information are you getting from from the people on my contact list? Because these are the issues that people would have, right? What kind of information are you getting from CT who's on my contact list, or Eric who's on my contact list? Is Ndu okay? Have you seen her? Or, by the way, Ndu owes us some money and has not paid. What exactly are you asking these individuals for? Because you've said that I've indemnified myself essentially, and I said you can have access to my phone contacts provided that this is information that you're getting. So who's the fly on the wall who's making sure that when you're in that room speaking to my people, that what you're asking of them is what I've allowed you to ask of them?
Let me first start by saying that we are very clear, and we do not shy away from saying, as a business, as Tala, that we will never contact anyone in your contact list. And that is a mantra we do not only say, but we live by. We only contact you as the customer. And the reasons as to why we would pick data from your contacts list is around what I said, around the data points that we use, even extricating behavioral insights. So one of the data points is around network usage. So you might find you're a customer, but within your contact, within that network of contact, there are other Tala customers within them. So it's for us to see if Ndu has within her network of contacts other customers, and we've seen that these customers have a good repayment history. It is more likely then that if Ndu associates with those kind of people, that her capability to also pay, or her willingness to pay, would be like that. Okay. So it's the contact is not to contact them, but to see within, and this was almost ties to the concept
show me
of
your friends.
Yes, it's like guarantors almost also. If you look at it, that if Ken and Muga can guarantee Latif, and we know Ken and Muga are fairly good, they've been in our circle, then clearly then Latif is somebody we can trust with this money. But let me take a step back also, just to address an issue that was there previously. And I mentioned that when this started, it was a nascent sector. So a lot of also the regulation within that space was non-existent.
Yeah.
And between, I think, years 2018 to around 2021, there was like a proliferation of so many rogue players within the space. And when they came on board, there was no proper self-regulation, so to speak. And a lot of harassment, debt harassment was experienced.
Yes.
There were concerns from customers where you find your contacts have been lumped into probably a WhatsApp group. And then the messages are being thrown around, Ndu has our money, she's not paid, WhatsApp, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that happened. But at Tala, we, because of being pioneers in the industry, we realized we need to be proactive to actually address some of these things, even before regulation came into place. And that's why even the association that is there currently that oversees the sector, it's called the Digital Financial Services Association of Kenya. We are the founding members of that body. And the aim here was, how do we come together and self-police so that we then enhance these issues around consumer protection? And then we proactively engaged with who then now are our regulators like CBK and ODPC, way before the regulation caught up with the space, to then see how can you come in and make sure and sanitize this area. Because wherever there is, they say in a market there is always
a madman.
madman. So it was a question of how do we then make sure, because we are here and we are pioneers, and the tag of pioneers is both a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
A blessing in the sense that you are the ones who started this, so you most likely carry a lot as you go with it. But also you carry a lot of the flack that happens, the negativity. So that if somebody gets some sort of harassment, they'll be like, wale watu wa Tala wamenipigia. Because Tala is synonymous with digital lending.
Yeah, so like one toothpaste is called one brand. One,
yes,
so
we are the Omo of digital lending. So we carried a lot of that. But also that came with a lot of responsibility. Then how do we proactively shape the kind of environment we want to operate in, which then also enhances consumer protection? So we did quite a lot of work with that. We are registered with the ODPC, among the first batch of players in this space, both as a data controller and a data processor. And this comes with a lot of legal requirements. And remember, for us, we don't just view data privacy for our customers as only a legal requirement. It's actually at the heart of what we do. There is something in the law they call privacy by design, where as you are building anything, a service, a product, you start from the point of how do I ensure that whatever I'm building enhances privacy, and privacy does not become an afterthought. So that is something we have put in within our product development process.
So as when I have downloaded Tala from the Google Play and it's on my phone, what else is that app doing when I'm not using it?
When you're not using it.
Yes. It's on my phone. So what else is it doing? It's checking my contacts. Is it reading my messages? Is it switching on the mic at some point? Is it doing all these things? Because that's a fact. For example, there's somebody here, Amos, who's saying that what they're experiencing in Europe is apps that pick up even our phone mics whenever we talk about a product or topic, and all of a sudden start seeing adverts, right? So how much is Tala controlled in terms of what it's doing, what that app is doing in the background?
So I'll still take you back to what I mentioned around our privacy policy, and then how it governs how we collect your data, how we store it, how we process, and even how we use it. And everything that happens within that app is governed within those parameters of what we've set out in our policy. So if we say we only need data from you, and these are the data points that we've picked, which, remember, they were very clearly outlined, even at the point where you were signing up. And beyond signing up, now that you're a customer, within the app, there's a link you just click that takes you directly to the data privacy policy. And one of the challenges that I think a lot of people out there have had is there's a lot of legal jargon within this guy. I don't have the time to read it. We've really tried to simplify this in a way that is very clear, where you go and it's very specific without a lot of words, that these are the data sources that Tala will pick, then enumerated 1, 2, 3. These are the reasons why. You have the right to withhold certain data from us, or even reach out to us and say, I want this certain data either removed, deleted, erased, because those are the rights that you have.
Yeah.
But we're also clear in telling you that we need this data to provide a certain service to you. So in the event that you withhold some of it, we may be unable to provide that kind of service.
No.
So it's very clear. So the customer understands how that happens. So even when you're not using your app, like right now, maybe you've not gone to borrow, you know that the app is there now trying to pick other signals.
Yeah.
It is only for the purpose of, are we looking at, for example, Ndu's transactional history, because now she's gone into the app and she wants a certain amount of money. It is only for that purpose. And also, I mentioned something around our machine learning. One of the key challenges that is within the digital space and even the digital financial space is around fraud.
Yep.
And we've seen issues around SIM swapping and even identity theft. So our machine learning is also there to enhance certain security protocols and identify fraud. We've seen people steal other guys' IDs and use that to borrow money. So how then do we try and put in measures to sort of mitigate against those kind of risks? So our app is only picks those data points for the specific purposes that we have mentioned to you, and you've allowed us to do that.
That's what you say. What's the guarantee that what you're saying is exactly the truth?
The guarantee is that, let me find the best way to put this. So the guarantee we give you is, remember I mentioned that we are a mission-driven company. That the whole idea that we have is around how do we enhance financial inclusion? How do we make sure we build products that meet our customers' unique needs? So it is a very trust-based sort of mission. And we are the ones who started with that trust foundation. We came to you and said, we don't know you. We don't know your history. We are not going to ask you for stack of papers, but we are going to trust that we will give you this money because you need to solve something in your life and you're going to repay.
And I didn't give you any guarantee.
And you didn't give us any guarantee, any security. That is the DNA that runs within Tala. So starting from there, now we are coming to you and saying, the same trust that we've been extending to you, trust that we are going to utilize your data in this specific way. And we don't just want you to bank on that trust only. We are bound not only by our internal policies, not only by best practice. Remember I mentioned we're also a global company, but there's also the law. And we've shown in our history that we've been proactive in trying to shape that environment that actually gives you more control of your data as a customer, where you can then make informed decisions. So judge us by our history, judge us by the track record we've had, and judge us by even how we've done our business. I think that's the sort of guarantee that I can put in.
In this learning center, because you have a learning center on the app, right? Do you also continuously enhance and talk about that message of trust and say that these are our regulators, and should you have any issue, you can even get in touch with them. Because one of the things, of course, with data is I see there's a level of, if there's the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner who is oversighting you, then also give me that reassurance that we are under the ODPC, and you can even get in touch with the ODPC. Should you talk to us and you have issues with our data, about our data, you can also still talk to the regulator. Are you open to that?
Actually, if you look at most of our, I think even these,
The banners that we
the
have.
banner might, down there we actually clearly indicate that first we are regulated by the Central Bank of Kenya. And CBK has very clear regulations for DCPs, that is digital credit providers. And some of those provisions actually even make reference to data protection, in as much as data protection is overseen by the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner. And then now I've also mentioned that we are licensed, both as a data processor and a data controller, by the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner. It is actually something that we pride in, because then it means beyond our internal systems that we've put in place, we are proud that we are even actually licensed by this regulator. And we call it out in a lot of our engagements. We've been running a data privacy campaign, and right now we are talking about something we say, tutachorea. So that is part of the awareness that we are creating.
What does that mean?
Tutachorea basically means, and I hope I'm not getting it wrong, is you'll find that there'll be certain rogue players who will want to divulge your personal finances matters, like when they're doing debt collection, to
Third parties.
third parties,
Including your family
including
members.
those we are talking about contacts and whatnot.
Yeah.
But for us, we realize that finance is such an emotional concept. When you're dealing with money, and if I can take an example of men, we normally don't want our manenos to be out there. If I borrow money from Muga, I wouldn't even want that if to know. Hiyo ni mambo yetu. So a lot of people are like that, even from like our Kenyan context. So we are basically saying, sisi tukifanya na wewe, hiyo ni mambo yetu. We are not going to other people and telling them, this guy has our money and he has not
So
repaid.
kuchorea is the shang word for tutakanyagia hiyo story.
Tutakanyagia hiyo story.
Hiyo story ni yetu.
Hiyo ni yetu tu. And we are handling it between ourselves.
Chorea city. Chorea.
And before that, we ran another one where we were saying, hatutakuanika. And we had billboards, we had branded buses, there's a lot of marketing material out there, basically saying, hatutakuanika. And we had like a guy put on like
On the clothes line.
on the clothes line.
Yeah.
Just a message that will resonate with our customers, for them to understand. We will not put your affairs out there. That is just for us, and we are handling it between ourselves. So that's how we go out there, and we remind people that we are actually licensed, or DPC. These are the rights that you can actually report something to a DPC. And even internally, we have a dedicated team. So we have our data protection officer, where any complaints regarding data protection are then channeled to this specific resource, who can then deal with them.
Okay. Several things will happen because of my borrowing history with Tala. You'll keep increasing my limit, right? What's the maximum limit?
Currently, the maximum limit is 50,000.
50,000.
Yes.
What's the minimum?
Minimum is 1,000.
So I'll start off at 1,000, then keep increasing because of how I'm borrowing and everything else, and the AI will keep playing those games and increase my limit. Is the AI also looking at my borrowing and repayment history and reducing my interest? What I'm asking is, does my credit score work for me beyond, I know the credit score works against me if I am those, bad borrower, if you can see that I'm, in a loop of credit and all those things, and you're like, let's limit this guy and let's retain this credit. So if it's working very well, that you can move me very fast from 1,000 to 50,000, can you also drop me in terms of the interest rate?
So there's something we call risk-based pricing. And that is something that is also embedded within the calculation of interest. And even right now, if you look at it, the regulator, which is the CBK, is actually pushing for adoption of risk-based pricing, because then that allows you to actually personalize finance or credit to a particular customer. Because I can't treat Latif probably and Muga the same if your trends of borrowing, repayment, and probably any other details around you are different. There's need to personalize that to you. So if you have been in default, probably, how that AI will calculate the interest, the risk profile for you will be different. So there'll be like a margin in terms of where that interest plays at, depending on your risk profile.
Okay.
So if you're a less riskier person, and this will be determined by your history, then within that margin of interest, you will get something that is probably lower compared to somebody who's a bit more riskier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does the app tell me? Well, we have assessed and
Because
you're
of
doing
what?
so well in terms of your risk profile, so we are offering it to you at this percent. So that I keep knowing that it's because of my performance that I'm actually improving in terms of the interest.
I know for sure that the app will show you the interest that will be applicable to the loan you've borrowed. I might need to check whether it will tell you that this interest is lower
Than the average market.
Yes,
blah.
because of your risk profile. I might need to confirm that and check. And probably that's a good idea. If it's something that is not already there, then just to enhance that transparency and trust with the customer, it could be something that might be adopted. But I'll need to check that and confirm whether we actually indicate to the customer.
How did you handle COVID? Because during that period, very many people who previously or prior to COVID were in a position to not only borrow but to repay, and then suddenly their finances went this way and that way, and were not able to meet the obligations that they had.
COVID was a tough time. I think for customers and businesses alike, and everyone just went through a rough patch, I'll say. And within even the credit space, there was a lot of, I would say, a lot of defaults. And this was because of the nature of the environment at that time. No one was actually just getting money. So businesses lost, and I think to a great extent also customers felt the pinch. Our business, I believe at that time, slowed down a bit, naturally as any other business would have. In terms of specifics on maybe how that impacted financially, I'm not sure I have the exact details of how that impacted, but I know business slowed down. Even the rate of giving credit out to customers was hampered. And even a lot of our customers, I think during that period of time, because of what was going on, were not able to repay their loans. But then I mentioned that our customer support team, because they're very accessible, you'll be able to call and say, I had this business, my shop, clearly because of 1, 2, 3, I was unable to repay you. Do we get into a plan where then we can sort of structure that loan? And so we had those, particularly our mature sort of borrowers.
Were you getting in touch with the borrowers, or were you waiting for them to get in touch with you?
So it was both ways. So we have a system where our collections team, based on certain milestones, actively discuss with our customers. So based on a certain milestone that somebody has reached on the collection process, our team can either reach out to you directly and say, we've looked into your file, this is how things are looking. Is there any challenge you want us to assist you with? So that's one side from our side. But we also have the other side where, and we encourage our customers actually to do that, where if you already even start seeing trend that probably you are not able to make a repayment, then you proactively reach out to us, tell us this is the issue. We'll assess that and see, and probably get some evidence from you just to back up your claim, and then get into arrangement where we are saying, okay, then this is how we are going to structure the payment.
I asked for that period specifically because I'm interested in knowing, since you're a data driven company, the percentage of people who had problems, how many of them volunteered and came to you instead of you going to them?
You want the numbers?
Percentage.
Yes. On average.
I might need to look into that and just ask, because we have a team and somebody who leads that particular department, just to get the numbers. Also just for my knowledge to understand how exactly it played out.
The behavioral
Yes. So we can get back to you on that.
Thank you for joining us today. It's been an enlightening story to learn about Tala. And yes, Tala is counted in very many languages. In Kikamba, in Getaita, and many others. Kennedy Osori is the head of public affairs at Tala, Kenya. We've been talking about data privacy and digital finance in the country. Keep it here for more. It's 9 a.m.